Hello, hello, hello. Welcome this evening to Blood Moon Oracle. My name is Leticia. It is a pleasure to come. I do feel called to come and bring a message tonight. And so I hope you guys are well. Happy Monday. This is the first week of May. And so let's see what it do in the month of May. I know I'm excited. I hope you guys are well. And I hope there's lots of good things happening as it is all around us. This is actually the month where we can expect for things to blossom, right? This is the month to see things come to fruition. The seeds that have been planted in the winter are ripe to bloom, to blossom. So if you've been planting seeds, listen, we are in blossom season. And so let's take a look. I will be using my the Wild Unknown Tarot deck and the Wild Unknown Archetypes Oracle deck. And for the message tonight, I hope you guys are well. Like, share, comment, subscribe if you feel led. If some part of this message resonates with you or you feel like this is beneficial for you, don't hesitate to comment. If you have questions, if you want more information, reach out, right? At the least, like, share, or you can subscribe and hit the bell if you want to be notified in case we go live in the future. And so thank you for stopping by. It is such an honor to sit down in this capacity. I don't take it lightly. And I do definitely feel like there is a message tonight. I almost didn't come, but something has been pushing me forward. It's like, you need to go speak. Somebody may need to hear this on the other end. And so here I am tonight with a message. Maybe encouragement. You know, sometimes I come and deliver the encouragement of the day, of the week. But let's see what this message holds, okay? All right, let's take a look. And so the first energy that comes out is the sustainer. The sustainer. And as you can see, this is a picture of hands holding some type of rock, some form of a rock, or it could be clay or, dirt, something that's being held. And the card is called the sustainer, and so there's some hands that are holding this. Seems like something could be being molded or shaped or formed, or it could just be keeping it from falling, holding it in place. And so this comes out, I feel like there is something to do with some type of a call tonight, some type of a call. This points to a person. This could be talking about you or someone you're connected to, but it points to a person who is usually, a sustainer is usually someone who is very responsible, someone who can be counted on. They're very dependable. This could be someone who is known to be a peacemaker, someone who works very diligent behind the scenes to keep things together, right? For many years, we can consider the woman to play that role, the sustainer, keeping things together, the upholder, the preserver, but it doesn't have to be in this case. As a matter of fact, I do get a lot of masculine energy with this, a lot of masculine energy. And so this is an archetype that is usually arriving in a sense of being, someone who definitely works behind the scenes, tending to tasks of life and, making sure things stay together. This is somebody who definitely would cultivate gardens. It's almost like a sense of dedication to what is being called here. Someone who would definitely be responsible, make sure the bills get paid, to keep the food on the table, to keep the lights on. The sustainer is really someone who just accepts that role and they're at peace with it, with the whole process of life. As a matter of fact, they're very much in this very humble yet meaningful state of mind and taking on these tasks. They have a very natural inclination to nourish others, right? And to archive information, to preserve things like resources, maybe Earth's resources, maybe personal resources, to really consider the overall impact that's being had. on the environment, if it's to reserve, earth resources, or maybe the household, if it's to preserve resources for the house. But this is someone who can easily become overworked and could easily be led into a sense of resentment as well. I feel like this is somebody who takes on those tasks that aren't always desired. They take on the less desired tasks. And maybe they would even rarely receive the credit that's due to them for doing what they do as well, or attention for doing what they do. They would rarely receive any type of accolades. This is a person who strive to keep relationships together, to keep family together, right? Or to keep things together, to avoid unnecessary changes, right? The sustainer is an archetype that we all carry. And we are all in need of this energy as well. And so, I feel like this could be definitely someone who has a lot on their shoulders that's carrying a lot. Yeah. And when I pulled tarot cards on this, I came out with the King of Pentacles and the Hermit, which really speaks to this energy. Because the King of Pentacles is a very responsible energy. When we talk about pentacles, we're talking about maybe even the 3D experience. This is somebody who's very responsible with their resources, very grounded, and someone who is connected to everything and takes accountability as well. When we look at the Father of Pentacles, we're looking at the King of Pentacles. And so this is somebody who has reached a level, whenever we reach a king level, we've reached a level of mastery, right? And so this is somebody that has mastered the ability to be accountable and to balance, right? This is somebody very grounded, very balanced, somebody who is able to really be accountable for what it is that they have. The King of Pentacles, considered to be very steady and grounded. And even in an entrepreneurial spirit, you can give them a little something and they can turn it into, something big, right? It's that kind of energy. But it's also carrying a very gentle energy, maybe even at first until you get to know them. But they can sometimes tend to be a little bit boring at first because there's not a lot of excitement with the King of Pentacles. This is somebody that moves very slow. That's not quick to jump into nothing, but they sit back and they watch. This is the type of person that will sit back in a room of people and watch, right? They may very well be interested, but they're not going to jump into it. They're going to sit back and watch to see what they're interested in, to see if it is really what it says it is, if they really are who they say they are, right? And so it's very slow moving energy. And it can come off as a little bit boring, but underneath, I feel like the King of Pentacles is incredibly passionate, right? And very responsible, right? They prioritize things like stability over excitement, over fun, because they carry that very entrepreneurial, diligent spirit when it comes to work. And this is somebody that you definitely would be very privileged to know. The other card that comes out is the Hermit, which is also a very interesting energy. I think the Hermit would bring off a little bit more of a spiritual kind of undertone. The Hermit, see the light on top of the shell? And again, I do get very slow, stable energy. The Turtle is not a fast moving energy. But the Hermit is all about solitude. It's all about meditation, having some type of spiritual undertone. And this is not something or someone that will generally be supported within our society, right? The Hermit is highly celebrated and valued, though you won't always see them in the middle, in the mix. or all around, town. This is somebody who will most likely go missing the majority of the time because they're seeking something different than what society overall is seeking. And so the hermit also is somebody that brings some level of value because of this light on top of this shell. This is like something that's lit within this person for all to see, And so the call, there's something about being called either to a person or to this particular experience. And I feel like we are talking about possibly a person, or we could be talking about being called to step up into a certain way of being. This is coming out for this week. So this might be something that you may be feeling deep down in the recesses of your spirit, like you're being called to a level of deepening with how you're experiencing life and how you're taking life. If you're somebody who's always just been very surface level, not wanting to go too deep, maybe you are being called to take it deeper, or you're being called to someone who is deep in that way. There's definitely a call here this week to this energy, the sustainer energy. Again, it's very peaceful energy and very responsible, very concerned about others. This would be someone who would be concerned about preservation, not just self-preservation, but it's concerned about everybody, how it affects the whole. And so there's something about that here coming out in the energy to start, okay? The next card that I pulled, we're talking about almost like a threshold that we are embarking upon this week. And it may come across as a little bit of a challenge because this is going to be a challenge to release something. A challenge to release something. I can't pick it up because of my nails. And the card that I pulled is the medallion. And as you can see, this hand is reaching up for, there's something here that's desired or that is normally sought out or followed, or there's something, this almost reminds me, how we do in the cartoons in the olden days, for those of you that are old enough to remember, we call it the golden carrot. And the golden carrot was something that would dangle, but you could never quite catch it. It was in view and within reach, but it was just beyond reach. That's what this is reminding me of for some reason. But when we look at the medallion, again, we're looking at something, I do feel like it is something that is valued, maybe as a whole, from a societal perspective, maybe even from a personal, familial perspective. This brings in something that is valued and sought after. Or it could also be something that is difficult to release. Maybe there's been attempts to release, but then we keep coming back for some specific reason. And this might be the passing of, when we look at the threshold is really about having a challenge of some kind because this is difficult. There's a call to maybe embark upon an experience that causes us to have to welcome in a different way or consider something different than what we already know and what we have already accepted as a way of being. The medallion is really part of some type of process or obstacle that possibly gets in the way of being able to move accordingly, right? If this is something that we need to leave behind or a habit that we, naturally want to hold on to, this could very well be the thing that could be holding us back or has likely held us back many times before. It's either something that we are striving and reaching out for, or something that we keep coming back to pick back up. We keep coming back to pick it back up. In the picture, it's a picture of like some type of amulet that's glowing. It could be made of gold, or it could be like a talisman or some type of familial heirloom. Whatever it is, it's of importance. And so there's something about crossing over a threshold or confronting some challenge And that challenge may have to do with an object, a sacred object, or some type of ancient ritual. And when I say ritual, don't get freaked out. All I'm talking about is some habit, some pattern. When we talk about ritual, we're talking about something that we commit to doing. When you get up and you go jog or you go walk every morning, that's a ritual. Somewhere along the line, we have put that word in a scary place for some reason. But this is not that, right? When we say ritual, this is something that we have accepted as a normal part of life and maybe something necessary, right? Something familial, something that may be instituted within your family, within your personal relationships, within your love relationships, maybe even something tribal, right? This could be considered some level of gift or jewel or a treasure, something we would keep close. We would be afraid of losing a keepsake or some type of memento, right? But it has some great value to it. And it could just simply be money. If we just really gonna be real, it could be the accumulation or the seeking of money here. But whatever it is, this is the threshold that we are being called to encounter this week. And it holds some level of importance, even down to an emotional level. Yeah. Some would maybe value it from a material standpoint, and others, whatever it is, may value it from an emotional level. But it's also important to understand whatever this is, it's something that may bind us. You know, it's something that may appear to be good, but it may bind us to an unspoken agreement or promise. And we do it every day. We don't even realize how many times we are making contracts. And sometimes we don't even have to agree with it. We just have to sit back and not say anything. You know, you can be entered into a contract without even speaking. Your refusal or your lack of response would be considered agreement or complicity, right? So it could even be something on that level as well. But there's just something here embedded unconsciously, energetically, right? This could have something to do with expectations. But I do feel like for some, it's very 3D, like it's something in the physical, something material. And it may be time to really reconcile the vibration of these things around us, to pay attention to that. What is it that we covet? What is it that we collect? And then why? Is there something that you held on to for a long time, for years, that you're actually ready to release? Sometimes it's time to reach for the medallion that actually aligns with your deepest values and let everything else go. Now, when I pulled tarot to clarify this, what I got was the Daughter of Cups. The Daughter of Cups. And I also got the Strength card. The Daughter of Cups. So there's something here about, it's definitely something emotional with the cups coming out here, but it's also something energetic too with the strength, because the strength for me, what stood out first was ego is what stood out first. So it's something to do with us identifying with ourselves in this way, whatever this is. And it's something that is pleasing to the ego, whatever it is. It's pleasing and it is soothing. It makes us feel good. It makes us feel fulfilled in some type of way, right? Because when we look at the Daughter of Cups, we're talking about creativity, but we are also more so talking about emotionalism. And there's something, and the reason why I say it's energetic and vibrational, when we look at the reflection of the duck as he's floating on the water, see all those colors? Immediately what I'm thinking of is the chakra system. And the chakra system is all about vibration. It's all about energy. It's all about being open to what it is that we can experience, right? The Daughter of Cups is all about creative energy. It could also talk about a bit of connection in some type of way when it comes to romance. We could be talking about artistic expression, but mostly we're really talking about being inspired in some way by something physical. It could be our surroundings. It could be something within our surroundings. And when we talk about the page is very young, very inexperienced energy. And so there may be a lack of groundedness, right? Whatever this is may in fact keep us ungrounded, keep us from maturing like we should, and keep us in a very comfortable, mushy space so that we don't have to grow, so we don't have to mature, right? It keeps us in a place where we don't have to deal with harsh realities. That comes as a result of, the conflict that arises when we feel like we are being made to make a certain decision, right? In this case, this might be parting with something. There's some level of disturbance that may arise as a result of being confronted, with making this kind of decision. Now, when we look at the Strength, again, we're talking about the solar plexus energy. We're talking about the sense of us realizing and showing up in who we believe we are. The Strength is all about courage. When we look at the Lion, right, that gives you an idea of the type of energy we're talking about. The Lion is actually a pretty strong, pretty courageous energy. And it's all about mastering those emotions. And so we go from the Daughter of Cups, which is this very young, inexperienced, very emotionally inspired energy. And then we flip over to the Strength, which is the very opposite. It's being able to navigate those different spaces, having the experience and the mastery in those areas. So whatever this medallion is in the threshold this week is actually causing or wanting to help us level up in some type of way. But will we release it is the question. And also the Strength talks about having courage. Having courage. Yeah. Having courage. One of the things that always stands out for me on the Strength card, no matter what the illustration of the deck is, there's always an infinity sign somewhere on the Strength. That's very important because we're talking about experience and we're talking about sometimes patterns and having to go through as many times. That's the beautiful thing about life is we're never, and it's also the beautiful thing about God, about the universe, about our maker, our creator, the divine. We're always given a choice. We're never made to do anything, but we're given, a choice on what we will do, on what we decide in any situation. And this infinity sign sometimes is alluding to that, being able to go through as many times as it takes to learn the lesson sometimes. And when you're ready, right? And so there's something this week where we're being possibly confronted with an opportunity to make a different choice so that we can end up with a different outcome or end up in a different space. Okay. I'm seeing that as well. We're entering into this threshold of this experience that provides an opportunity. Yeah. Whatever that opportunity is, it's going to be one that leads us to a different place than where we've been. Okay. And that's the threshold that we are entering into this week, this experience, this challenge of releasing something. Now, the next card that I pulled is actually representing the ordeal, and it gives us more information about the situation that we're talking about. And the card that came out was agape. And I know a lot of people have heard that agape, philia, eros, right? We are talking in Greek, and Greek, and we are talking about the different aspects of love, right? Did you know that there's different loves? There's not just one love. There's eros, there's agape, there is feels, right? There's so many different ways that we can describe love depending on what type of love that we're talking about. But this is talking about the ordeal that's coming up for us this week. And this is what we are being initiated into. There's some type of initiation through agape, through agape. And this is the situation or the ordeal at hand coming up this week for us. I don't know why, but I feel a heavy sense of deja vu. Like, this is crazy. Oh my goodness. Deja vu. It's just dripping on me right now. Do you guys ever feel that deja vu? Like you have been in this moment, in this space right now. And for some reason, there are certain people that Spirit is bringing up in my mind. Predestination is coming up for me. Not that I've lived this before, but this has been appointed to be in this space and connected with the people that I'm connected with right now. I'm feeling that very heavy. You could be feeling that this week as well. So agape, again, as I was saying, as you can see, there's like, it almost looks like some type of piece of jewelry to me, like a connected bracelet or some type of necklace with jewels that are connected. And those connections are creating some type of response. But agape talks about a specific kind of love. And this love is all about devotion. It's all about adoration and unconditional love. And so this is about taking the focus off of ourselves and actually devoting ourselves and our love and our adoration towards something or someone else. And so the ordeal this week, someone is being initiated into a different kind of love. I don't know. This could be someone who's used to just worrying about themselves. Maybe they haven't really had to care for anybody else. They've just been really affiliated. And this deep challenge that's coming out this week is going to actually bring up a dilemma within. And this is going to cause one to have to face this dilemma along the way. And this may, in fact, lead us to parts of our shadow self that needs to be revealed and exposed and raised up so that we can see it, so that we can grow, right? So that we can grow. That's what this ordeal is. It's all about placing our attention off of ourselves to center something else. And it could be even some type of, like, it doesn't have to be another person or a thing. This could be even centering a spiritual practice, like connecting with a higher source, higher than you, right? No matter how you see it, because we all see it differently. Some may see it as, somebody that was born and it was an immaculate birth, right? Some people may see it as something, an energy that they meet when they go to a certain place and get still, right? However you see your source or your divine power, right? This could be, experiencing that in a different way. Experiencing God in a different way, or goddess, right? Or nature, right? However you see that, is taking yourself off of the throne of your heart and placing something more powerful there, whatever that is for you, whatever your source is, right? That's what it could be. But it could also be you changing your approach to life, to what you prioritize, to what you find important. This is challenging this week to allow yourself to see things in a different way, to be in awe and wonder of something outside of yourself or someone outside of yourself. This is being connected in some type of way or having some experience that's going to take your breath away, whatever this is, allowing yourself to be placed in that position. And I feel like it is sacred, though. For some reason, I'm getting that energy. It feels sacred. And this feels like something that is spiritual. It doesn't necessarily feel like it's going to be something or someone that's like, okay, now I did this for you. Now you get to do this for me. No, this is something more beautiful. When we talk about agape love, we're talking about unconditional. So what is going to be given to you this week, whatever this experience is, it's not going to ask for anything in return. It's going to be like a gift to you, right? But it's also going to cause a bit of a dilemma because it's going to ask you to choose, right? Whatever you hold important right now, it's going to ask for you to dethrone that and consider something else. Consider another sacred force to surround yourself with and to be in awe of. So this is about some type of spiritual initiation. And whatever this is, I feel like it's going to introduce you to another kind of love, another capacity to feel or to receive or even to give love and to serve in that way. Yeah. There's something healing about this energy as well. This could also be about reassessing what it is that we worship every day. Let's just be real. When we talk about worship, what do we worship? Consciously or unconsciously? This goes back to that medallion. What is it that we are worshiping? Let me show you that picture again. Is it stuff, right? You see the posture of that hand? That looks like worship to me. I don't know about you, but when I worship, I go in, like all in. That's what it feels like to me, like somebody worshiping. But what are we worshiping? What is it? This begs that. And so there may be some revelations that happens this week to let us know what it is that we're worshiping every day. Sometimes it's not just God. What are we elevating? Or that sacred ladder that we climb, where is it leading? Do we know? So this is all about devotion and unconditional love and what we are giving ourselves over to in service. What are we reverencing? What are we honoring? Who are we giving our joy over to? This is the initiation. I feel like this comes through as being led into another way. Being led into another way. When we talk about initiations, that means that there's something that's getting started. When we initiate something, we're about to get something started, right? We just starting, basically. This is just the beginning steps of something. And so there's something happening this week that's going to change something in the future, maybe a way of living, a way of seeing things. There's some kind of initiation that's coming towards you this week. The tarot cards that I pulled was the Four of Wands. I have to wait for it to adjust. The Eight of Cups and the Four of Cups. Now, the Eight of Cups talks about that energy of changing something or realizing that there's a need for a change. It's like when you look around and you're like, wow, it's definitely time for a change. I have exhausted everything in my surroundings or everything in this place where I am right now. There's nothing left for me to learn. There's nothing left for me to absorb from it. I have utilized everything here. It's now time to expand, or it's time to move up to higher heights so I can continue to grow and continue to learn. There's something about that here. Maybe this could be about your connections. Maybe it could be about how you relate to life. Like it's become stagnant, like to the point where it doesn't even challenge anymore. It's time to expand and to move up to higher heights where you can continue to grow. Right? Yeah. For somebody, I'm hearing something about the air being thinner. The higher you go, the thinner the air is. So the more challenging it is, right? It's easy to kind of dwell, down there on the ground. But if you decide that you get ready to grow and challenge yourself and to climb the mountain, it is in fact going to be difficult. And many will in fact decide to stay down low where it's easy. The air is real thin up there on the top. It's real thin. and uncomfortable. But there's something about that coming out here. I also have the Four of Wands. When we talk about wands and fours are coming out here. We have the Four of Cups and the Four of Wands. And then we have the Eight of Cups, which is a four doubled. So lots of fours coming out here. We're talking about stability. We're talking about building firm, grounded foundations. When we talk about the number four, this is all about foundations. When we think of the number four, we're thinking of a square that has four sides. It's very stable, very grounded, not easily moved or turned like a ball. Like you can't really move a square because it's set in its place. It's grounded, it's foundational. And so there's something here about completions with this Four of Wands, and maybe even celebrations as well. A new kind of celebration, or a new reason to celebrate, something new to aim towards. When we look at completion, maybe even completing this level of learning and being ready to expand and experience something new. This is almost like a congratulations. You know, you've made it this far. This is a card of completion. You know, when you've labored steadily and strong, and now it's time for the harvest. Now it's time to actually enjoy what you've worked for. This could be about celebrations or maybe some type of event. The Four of Wands is also kind of like a community energy, people coming around to celebrate in some type of way. There may be some type of event that is involved in this initiation. Yeah, there's something about that coming out here in this Four of Wands. But that event may in fact be it may in fact be like the thing that lights the fire here, because then it goes over to the Eight of Cups, and that's the energy that, you know, begs you to actually move up, to expand, to seek out, to grow past stagnation. This is almost like sending an urgent message too, like that it's time to move, it's time to go, it's time to expand, to grow. Pack up, we're leaving. You know, it's almost like that kind of energy. And there's no interest in what we're leaving behind. Being ready for something new, a new experience. Yeah, and not being more clear. Like you've never been more clear about this. This is how this will come across too. This initiation will bring some level of clarity and a constant reminder of why you moved, why you left, so that you will continue to move forward. Now, when we end with the Four of Cups, now the Four of Cups is definitely, again, it's the eight, but before you get to the eight, the Four of Cups is the desire. It's the desire for something more that you've never had. And it may even come across a little selfish as well, this action with the Four of Cups. It may come across a little selfish, or being discontented or being bored with where you are right now. Like you need some type of challenge. For someone looking from the outside in, looking at you, would kind of see, you know, something very nice, supportive, and maybe even a little bit pleasurable or luxurious, but from the inside, you don't see it that way. You're very discontent with something here, which leads to the initiation. You're very apathetic towards something here, and even hungry for something more. There's a hunger here. And there's something about not being careful that you don't still and yet take your current situation for granted, or maybe even burn bridges along the way. Yeah. So this is the initiation. There's something coming through that's going to act as the initiator of you moving forward here. Now, when we look at what will happen as a result, like there are certain perks or rewards that come as a result of you being open and heeding the call and moving and allowing yourself to be challenged to do something different so you can get something different, or releasing something, that you may be being asked to release. And so when I pulled that energy, we have the siren, le siren, le siren. I get the feeling for someone this could be about connections and maybe relationships, maybe even a higher level of connections and relationships. When we look at le siren, right, this is all about, this is a person basically that will be part of this, what you get to pull out of this situation. And this person will play as kind of like a reward or some level of wisdom that you'll be given as a result, some skill that you will gain, or something that you will attain on this journey or this experience that you are having. It's almost like a mystical gift that can't be found any other way. You have to take the enchanted path, right? And so Le Siren is, I feel like, is in fact a person that you may meet along this way. And when we talk about Le Siren, we are definitely talking about something or someone that may be very attractive, alluring. Y'all know what a siren is, right? The sirens will sing. They are the women with tails, and they lure in, right? They lure in very, what's the word I want to say? Alluring is a nice word to say it. Very attractive. And they call, and there is a response. When they call, the world spins, and there's a song, a sweet song that is sang, that really, it casts some type of spell. It's almost like that kind of energy. I know I'm going into woo-woo land, but this is like the energy that I'm getting here. Whoever this person is very attractive, very alluring. There's something that's very mystical about them. And I feel like if this is you, this is you. You're very, there's something about you that is almost like off limits, but at the same time is very inviting, right? There's almost like there could be mixed signals that you are sending out or that you're feeling towards this person if this is someone else. And it could be somewhat irrelevant, like it could be perceived as good to some and it could be perceived as bad to others, but really that's irrelevant, right? It's all about the journey that matters. It's all about why you're here and the work that's being done, right? There's something about being connected with this person, and being delved into some level of descent when it comes to the psyche, when it comes to consciousness. And if you follow, right, there's a song that is sung by the siren that is very inviting. If you follow, like it takes you down a place where lessons can be learned and courage can be, experienced. And these are things that we bring back with us when we do find our way back to dry land, right? I'm taking you guys on a journey in your mind, this very fantasy-like journey. Just follow me, okay? Just follow me. And so we find our way back to dry land, and we'll try. There's something that's very alluring, so alluring that there is no defense against it. Though we try to resist it, though you try to resist it, resistance may not be an option. It may not be an option. This feels like it may be something that we need to experience. That's the feeling I'm getting. You ever found yourself falling in love and you knew you were falling, but there was nothing that you could do about it? You were telling yourself like 9, 10 times, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not falling, but you were steady just falling, even though you're telling yourself something different. But there's something about this, because it doesn't end tragically, right? We know the story of the sighting, but this is all about you being influenced to live life more on the surface, to allow yourself to enter into spaces of the unknown that deep in your heart, deep in your spirit, you've wanted to experience it, but you haven't allowed yourself to. That's what this is about. And there's someone on the other side of this that is part of this journey for you. And it is someone that has sight and energy. Yeah. And this person serves as an awakener. But there's something very sensual about this person, something that is very absorbing about this person, that may present a lot of warning, but may present a lot of curiosity as well. And so I do feel, because of the tarot cards that came out, it adds some balance to this. We have the Four of Swords, which talks about controlling oneself, right? You see the lamb, the little innocent lamb, right? It has its third eye opened. Even though the swords are all on top, looks like they could just slide down and, unalive him. He's not worried because he sees. She sees. She's awakened. And because she's awakened, then there's nothing that can fear, because she's aware of the energy that she sits in. It's one that is not, it's not one that is looking to harm others. See, it's a lamb, right? A lamb is a very harmless animal. And in many ways, I feel like this is the energy that serves also as protection. And so this is the balance that comes into this energy or this person. It's like, though this energy is very, there's something that's very otherworldly I'm feeling about this energy. But at the same time, either this is their energy, there is no intention to harm, or this is your energy that you're being guided to be in. Like, don't intend to harm and no harm will come upon you. Like, purify your motives, right? And allow yourself to go through this and experience it. But that doesn't mean just be blind, right? The third eye is opened. You see, right? Be as harmless as doves, but as wise as a serpent, something like that. It's coming up. And then we have the King of Cups here too. There's some offering that comes through here. And I feel like this is a very innocent offering. It's one that doesn't intend to, even though the the Knight of Cups can sometimes be a bit of a seducer or a seductress. There's something also about this person that's very innocent and very docile. It feels very safe, as long as your third eye is open, as long as you are aware, And so I do feel like this is kind of like a reward that you get to have some experience here that involves someone else. I do see that very clearly. And it feels like one where you can be yourself, let your hair down, just be completely, open. But there is a level of mental power, I think, that you're being called to have in this situation. This also will afford a level of stillness, and that's where the growth takes place, right? This might be a moment or a place where you can rest even. You don't feel like you have to watch your back or fight. There's something here about this energy that represents that as well. Being in a pressure-free environment, quiet environment where you can focus and take time to recuperate. And then with the Knight of Cups, it's the Son of Cups, but it's really the Knight of Cups here. Again, as I was saying, sometimes this can come off as someone very flirtatious and free spirit wise. But in this case, it is almost like a graduation from that Daughter of Cups, which was very young and unstable. This is almost like this person could actually bring something of value to help with the growth. And it could be also something that they could bring that can open up some experience around expression. I'm hearing some form of expression as we look at this cup and it's screaming from this cup. That's expression that's being felt through this cup. There's something about this person that may be very expressive, very artistic, very kind, very successful. I'm hearing successful as well, very driven, passionately. They don't just do things, or this could be you too, but they do things passionately. Something very charming and mysterious, you know. Many people may think that this person is very secretive or just very soft. But there's something about this person. Don't be fooled by that, because there's something about this person that may carry a bit of darkness, of intensity. Like, don't be fooled by this person, right? This Knight of Cups. This is a smooth talker, but there's a lot. See all that blackness under the colors? There's a lot to be seen on a whole nother level. Not that it's dangerous or intending harm. There's just a lot underneath the surface, what people don't see, right? And so when we look at our last card coming out for this week is the Cave. And this is what we get to integrate. When it's all said and done, when we get to have these experiences and we connect with these people, the Cave comes out. We get to integrate. And when we talk about the Cave, this is entering into those. There may be something about this person or these experiences that's teaching us that it's okay. We are all, there's a duality about all of us. It's not just all light, right? People tend to think that spirituality is all butterflies and, ladybugs. No, it's a balance. It's being able to embrace your darkness just as much as you embrace your light, not denying that each of us have a bit of darkness, right? So there's something about this experience that's going to allow or teach the integration of the dark side. And what we don't understand is in the darkness, that place where we all tend to shy away from, there's something about it that seems just scary, uncontrollable. It's like, I don't want to open that can of worms. I don't know what's going to come out. I don't know what to expect if I go there, right? But there's something very amazing there. There's something very powerful when you allow yourself to go there. Am I talking about allowing yourself to go? And I'm not talking about dark stuff, but I'm talking about acknowledging those hidden parts of ourselves that we've hid away, that we're afraid to go there. You know what that is for you, right? But there are gifts hiding, waiting for you to discover them. But because you're so afraid of your own darkness, you have not encountered them. There's something about that. There's integration that's going to happen here as a result, and a return back to our true selves, right? When we talk about this cave, we are talking about the ability or the opportunity, I'm going to say, to actually integrate, to encounter upon our return to ourselves. It's almost like a homecoming back to our true selves that's going to help us to integrate things that are going to be very meaningful and change our lives as it is forever, and also prepare for things that are to come. Yeah. And so when we look at this cave, we are looking at this dark space, and I'm always on the search for the blood moon. And I think I see one in the back. Y'all see that? It's the blood moon in the back. But there's something here about the cave. This is the dark, the portal, right? It's the inside, the interior, not just the outside or the parts that we dress up because we want to be seen in a certain way. But this is the deepest recesses of who we are at the core. And there will be those of us who are fortunate enough to find and to enter this space. We call it the cave in this deck. And we'll be forever changed by that. Because this is a place of potent power. It's a place of potent power. And this acts as both a portal, and it's a portal to another space, another realm. And it's also that space that we were talking about with agape. It's the space to return for the sacred ritual and the initiation that we were talking about. We'll have to enter in through this way. The cave is really a place to return to receive meaningful experiences, or even a place where we can go for like a retreat too, and find meaning in that retreat, where we can actually see, right, our true self, to see the true self in the darkness. Now, when we talk about esoteric teachings, right, the cave is actually known to reside in the center of the heart. That's where the cave is. So for those of y'all that's scared and you're like, oh, I don't want to go in the dark, right? You don't want to enter your own heart. You scared of what lies in your own heart? We have a problem. If you cannot enter into the recesses of your own heart, that's why we're entering into this energy this week. There will be an opportunity to do that. Because that's where we find compassion. That's where we find self-understanding. That's where we can truly be heard as well. Okay? But because it's always been a mystery, right? There's so many things. That's why we have to just, critical thinking is so important. It's so important. Even to the point where if you come up with a different understanding than the 30 people that's surrounding you, what you came up with is more important than what the majority says. You know, that's why it's important to think critically. There's so many things that teach us against trusting ourselves and trusting our own heart, you know, but there is where we find compassion and self-understanding. That's where it is. It's in the heart, where it can be heard. But it's because of this mystery around it and the power that makes it scary for people when they think of someone else entering into their own power, right? That becomes scary for people because we are very much we're easily handled when we are not in our power. We're easily manipulated. We're easily herded along, right? We're easily instructed and led. But to have someone that understands who they are and the power that they hold, that's not somebody that's easily controlled. And that's scary. Now we got to talk about elimination, right? When you find somebody that's not easily controlled, then we got to resort to other things now. But this is what we're talking about. Not fearing the power that lies within. Right? Sometimes we busy ourselves in the light. We don't want anything to do with anything but light, but that's being out of balance, because then what's happening with the dark? We're just ignoring the dark spaces, the unknown. How does that work? But sometimes we busy ourselves with the lights. But we are being called into the cave. We are being called to go in and take a look. What's there? And not be afraid of what we'll find. Not be afraid of our own selves. What sense does that make? What are you afraid you're going to find? You. That's what you're going to find, you. And if you find anybody else there, then it's time to kick them out so you can take back residence, right? So you already know there's a deep calling to return to it and tend to that fire that is burning within. That's what we're talking about. Entering into the cave, the sacred center within. And the beautiful thing about this, when I clarified it with tarot cards, I got the Lovers, okay? and the Seven of Swords. The Seven of Swords reminds me of that very nervous energy of being afraid that we're going to lose something, maybe even not even being able to trust ourselves. You ever been afraid of your own shadow? It's like, whoo, whoo, what's that? And that's you casting your own shadow and you scared, right? That's like this energy here. As I clarified the cave, the Seven of Swords and the Lovers. Now, on another note, this could also be not trusting yourself to make good decisions when you open up, not only to yourself, but when you open up to others. The Lovers is not only about deep divine connection, but it's also about you being deeply and divinely connected within yourself. How are you going to connect with somebody else in a healthy way when you're disconnected from the deepest parts of yourself? And you can't even trust yourself. Can you trust yourself? Can you? This is the question. And this is what is at stake. This is the integration that is being offered this week. And I don't know how this is going to play out for everybody. It may be different, but there's a lot at stake. And Spirit is offering us an opportunity to grow within ourselves and maybe even to grow outwardly, in connection and experience with others as we delve into spaces that we may not have given ourselves permission to navigate. There's something very exciting about this energy, something very otherworldly, but it's something very exciting. And you're at the center of it. And so it's not something to be afraid of because you're at the center of it. You're controlling this. Okay. And I did pull like what is kind of soaring on the bottom that's not necessarily known consciously. What I got is flame and the Eight of Wands. Look at that. Flame and the Eight of Wands. There is a fire that's been begging to get out. It can no longer be contained, right? There's a lot of energy, pent up energy. And I feel like this week there is an opportunity to experience that in a healthy way, though. In a healthy way. This is not going out and, losing every sense of common sense that you have. No. This is using your common sense to actually grow and learn and allow yourself to grow and experience so that you can learn. Okay. And when we look at flame, a tool, it's a tool that is not necessarily being recognized. However, it's there because this represents the unconscious energy. And so it's there and it's burning and it may be a spark that's going to actually start. It's a glimmer, right? That's very small with the potential of becoming something very relevant, prevalent. So in Sanskrit, I love Sanskrit. We're talking about chakras, right? In Sanskrit, this word fire is Agni. It's Agni. Right? We talk about Sanskrit and the chakras. We're talking about the energy flow, relating that to the body, Agni. And the ancient yogis would mention this flame. They saw it at the center of the abdomen. That's why we call the lower chakras the sacral chakra. That's the flame. And then the root chakra is the first chakra. That's the foundation. And then we have the yellow, which is the solar plexus. All of those energies are in the abdomen. And the yogis believe that energy was responsible for our vitality when it is lit. Okay. I feel a lot of vitality in this energy. And when we're connected to our purpose and our sense of life and how it's sacred, how it's a gift, right? It's said that we can't see the sacred around. That sometimes when we're not able to see life in that way, that there's something about that flame not being lit. The inner flame has went out. But for somebody, that's what's being ignited this week. There's something that's being ignited, and it is beautiful. I love it. That's why the flame is here. Sometimes we forget. Sometimes we forget. But there's a reminder coming in that no matter what you've experienced, no matter how hard the winds have blown to try to put out and snuff that flame, listen, it can be lit again. And for somebody, it is being lit. There's a call to allow this inner flame to ignite, to spark, to enliven, to allow your energy to be re-energized and come back to life. For somebody, you could benefit from candle gazing. I don't know if you've ever done that. Just light a candle, take a moment to get still and just allow yourself to gaze into the candle and see what happens. See what comes up there. Okay. That's what I have for this week. A very exciting week. I do feel like there is some transformation at hand for somebody. Somebody's about to have a very different life experience. For lack of better words, somebody is about to have a wig blew back. Or their toupee is about to be blown back because there's something beautiful coming in. I do really feel that. And this is almost like something that has been destined. I was getting that in the middle of the reading. I'm like, why am I feeling such a heavy sense? To the point where I could even see myself in a different timeline, but in this exact place, having the exact thoughts. I'm looking at myself in a different timeline. This may be something very destined for someone. Let's see what the energy for the signs are that came out here, and then we'll end it. Y'all know I'll be going in. I don't be intending to, but this is just, I'm long-winded. I can't help it. All right, so we have the Son of Cups, which is the Knight of Cups. So this is definitely Pisces energy. And then we have the Four of Swords, Libra energy. The Lovers is Gemini energy. The Seven of Swords is Aquarius energy. The Four of Cups, Cancer energy. The Eight of Cups, Pisces energy. The Four of Wands, Aries energy. The Page of Cups, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio energy. The Strength, Leo energy. The Father of Pentacles is Taurus energy. And the Hermit is Virgo energy. Okay. And so that's what I have here. Thank you so much for stopping by. It's always a pleasure to read for you. I hope you got something out of this, and I hope it spoke to you personally. If so, leave me a comment. Let me know how that resonated for you. And if you'd like more information around what I shared here, it could go as deep as we want it to go, right? And so like, share, comment, subscribe if you feel led. That's the energy for this week. I know it's a little different. It was in depth, but sometimes we need that because something is afoot. It's a spark, a fire that's being lit in someone's belly, right? And that's a good thing. When life gets back exciting, right? It's a good thing. That's beautiful. And so I'm happy for you, whoever you are. Get ready. Whatever this is, it's about to knock you on your back, okay? Like, share, comment, subscribe. If you feel led, hit the bell. And we'll see you all next time. Thanks for stopping by. It has been Blood Moon Oracle, and we'll see you next time. Bye.